Welcome everyone again. So this session is about Drupal and the Open Web in the Australian Government 2025 edition. As I mentioned earlier as well, like if you were in last year Sydney DrupalSouth, you must have seen this one, 2024 edition. So let's welcome Sean for this session.
Wow, thank you everybody. This is a really cool place to have a talk, so first up, kudos there, and thanks for coming. This is the revamp of one you've hopefully seen before. You're going to see it again, hopefully with some new stuff, and hopefully everyone learns something. I'm Sean, and I work for Amazy.io. We do container-based hosting, and I got a new job title, but I like to kind of summarize it differently, which is like I solve problems and create problems, but hopefully more the former. But if you've got big gnarly things that are going on, hopefully I can help steer you in the right direction, give you some guidance there. And as usual, the problem statement: how popular is Drupal and the open web in the Australian government? And I pick on the Australian government because it's quite a well-defined space. It's a closed registry. No one can just arbitrarily just grab a domain. You actually have to become a government department. And there's a bunch of tools that you can do this. You can go pay money to a whole bunch of these things. You'll get a dump of all the various sites running Drupal. However, that's just not how I roll. I need to run my own code. I need to see it working. I need to tweak it. I need to change it. It needs to run the way I want it to run. So this is quite the ordeal, and it was made a lot harder this year. So these stats were just took a lot of doing. So Wapalizer is what I use as the base, and it's closed source now as of 2023, which is super disappointing. I understand the reasons why, but there is a new, confusingly named alternative called Web App Analyzer. Naming things is hard. And it's API compatible, so all the sniffs that Web App Analyzer has is a drop-in for the old Wapalizer ones. And of course, Puppeteer, and if you haven't used Puppeteer, go use it. It is absolutely amazing. It's like automation for Chrome. And if you're doing a task in your browser and you don't want to pointy clicky manually, that's how you do it. So this happened last time I was doing the talk, and I was like, it's okay, I'll just go Wapalizer, get the new version, everything will be rosy. And it wasn't rosy. Then you know what? Not a problem. I'll just ask AI. AI, can you tell me stuff? And let's just say I don't think Skynet is going to be a problem anytime soon. We've got a long way to go. Conveniently, this is just reach out to them and ask them what CMS they're using. Oh, why didn't I do that? Bizarre. If you do know the CMS for this site, please let me know. I actually don't know. So neither does the AI. So Wapalizer, went off around about August 2023, and this new chap, Ethic, is now doing a really good job with essentially the fork. And I really love this about open source. So even though a project may go in a direction you don't agree with, you can always choose to take that code and go another path. And that's like the power of Drupal. It's inherently a good thing. Problem, how do we get a list of Australian government domains? So when I very first did this talk, what I did was I wrote a scraper, and I just scraped, and then it kind of got quite recursive quite quickly, and I found way too much stuff. And that's actually a problem, because there's just domains littered absolutely everywhere in the government domain system. And there's a whole bunch of other ways to get them as well. Security Trails is quite fun if you haven't used that. It is A+, I recommend. And directory.gov.au's got a directory listing. You can check Let's Encrypt transparency logs, which is fun. Every time you create a certificate using Let's Encrypt, it's lovely in this log file for everyone to see. And someone's just got a GitHub repo. Fun times. But the main issue is not just having the list of sites, but I wanted a way to rank them so that it was understood that some sites are just more important than other sites. And it's just a helpful way to show dominance, I guess. And it was Toby Bellwood that initially just said, "Hey, have you heard of this thing?" And I was like, "No, what's this thing?" So these guys use common search data to generate PageRank, which Google doesn't use as much anymore, but it's exactly the same principle. And they have, I think it's listed here, they're the top 10 million sites on the internet there. So not every site, that's for sure, but at least the ones you probably visit at some point in your life are probably on this list. And if you haven't heard of PageRank before, the main thing you need to know is that it's logarithmic. And so if you have a score of 2, you are 5 times as important as one with a score of 1. So yeah, it's not just as simple as comparing the numbers as is. And you can kind of see some of the numbers here, 5.78, if I can read that tiny text. This big text here, 5.73. Yeah. Yeah, problem 3, and this is always a very real problem, and no doubt people in this room are more acutely aware of this than I am, but every so often the government just decides they want to do things differently and change domain names, break sites up, merge sites together, and this creates a lot of just chaos really for doing PageRank data. This is the Department of Health and Aged Care, and it's been decommissioned, although it's still running, as you can still quite clearly see there. These guys have archived their site and have done that with JPEG compression. They must look amazing on that screen. And this is Human Services. They just closed their website, kind of like a shop. And this is DESI, and this one actually got split into 2 sites. You know, how fun. Isn't government departments fun? Problem 4, and this is probably the most challenging, is how do I actually crawl all these things? So this took a little while to kind of unpick, but the main thing you need to know is that Puppeteer and Chrome are like best friends, and you have to keep them at exactly the same versions, and they will play nicely together. If you have new Chrome and old Puppeteer, they don't like each other. So that was my major lesson there, because the Wapalizer API JavaScript package depends on a super old version of Puppeteer. And I was using brand new Chrome and it wasn't working. So let's just say I've got it in a Docker container and it works now, so we're all happy. And on top of those base rules, we add on the web app analyzer rules, and then on top of that we add my custom rules on top. So we've kind of got this layer cake. And the rules I've written, when I get some time, will be actually committed back to web app analyzer. So every time I do this talk, the percentage of sites that are unknown will reduce. And people ask me oh, can I just play with it? I'm like, yeah, sure. Okay, so I stuck it on a domain name. It's not a very good domain name. It's one I have. So wapalizer.seanhamlin.website. Yes, I have a website. Yeah, it doesn't have rate limiting, so, play nice. if you're going to spin up a few crawlers to do this, please let me know. That would be nice. And for if you just want to see what it looks like, I plugged in australia.gov.au into it, and you can see it goes through a series of 301 redirects. Yeah, why not? And you can see that it will detect Drupal here as the category 1, which is CMS. So that's the main thing I'm like, when I'm crawling, that's the main thing I'm looking to report on. It does a whole bunch of other things. So if you want to see who's using Bootstrap across the government, who's got HSTS enabled, who's like hosting with like Amazon and stuff like that. So it pulls out a whole bunch of extra things. So you could take this talk further if you needed to. I'm a professional graph maker. That's my other job. And as per usual, the disclaimer. So this data is based on the December 25th last year. It ain't perfect. Nothing is. And if you have a newly minted website, it unlikely it will be in this list, just due to how PageRank works. You need people to link to your site for it to have any PageRank. So this is the state of Victoria, where we are now, and Drupal coming in at 36.2%. So I actually compared this to the last year and just sort of gave you the movers and shakers here. So Drupal's actually increasing in Victoria from 32 to 36%. And Squiz is actually dropping from 15 to 13. Same with Sitecore, a little bit down, and Open Cities a little bit down. NSW, you guys are doing super well with Drupal, increasing the percentage there, so 23 to 26% now. Squiz dropping as well in this state. A bit hard to see one of those labels. But yeah, they dropped from 15 to 11%. So pretty much what Drupal picked up, Squiz lost in New South Wales. And also a huge rise in AEM, or Adobe Experience Manager, because they have a lot of schools in New South Wales. And a lot. So they're running very sophisticated CMSs at schools in New South Wales. South Australia. Squiz is dominant here, and just you'll see this pattern kind of emerge on a few of these states and territories. There is a definite lean to Squiz in some of them. The percentage here has actually dropped though. It used to be 43% last year, now 38%. And Craft CMS, which I quite like, it's a PHP-based CMS, quasi-open source. I think you can pay money for it, but yeah, it's quite a cool little PHP CMS. Western Australia, doing quite well with Drupal over there. Drupal was unchanged from the last crawl, still roughly odd 29%. Spark CMS dropping a little bit, but .NET Nuke making a comeback. Words you don't expect to say. Tasmania, Squiz. You guys love Squiz down there. It's really good. So a huge chunk of Squiz, and then an equally huge chunk of WordPress. And that hasn't really changed a lot. SharePoint is increasing there as well. And like one thing you will see probably is the slice of unknowns, the grey slice, generally is quite small. So if you go back to the first talk I did on this, it's a little bit bigger. So that's just the power of iteration, I guess. Queensland, Squiz, 31%, and that's actually increasing in Queensland. And you'll also see a CMS called Jadu, which if you haven't heard of before, that's fine. I hadn't heard of before I started doing these talks. But it's a proprietary CMS, and it just seems to have a good foothold in Queensland. And Drupal reducing in this state from 10% down to 8%. ACT, I got told off the other day for saying ACT. Apparently that's a naughty word. In ACT, she's all one-way traffic here, so it's Squiz all the way. And it's probably had the biggest swing for change. So Squiz was 66% last year, now 74%. So it's basically going to gobble up this pie if I was a betting man. Drupal dropping. So it looks like people are dropping their Drupal sites in ACT and moving them over to Squiz. But you could probably also tell there's just very low CMS diversity in ACT. Just not really a lot of labels on these graphs. Northern Territory, Squiz, 53%. Actually dropping here, it was 63 last year, so the slice of the pie is dropping there. And Drupal slowly increasing in Northern Territory. And you'll see another CMS called Doodah. I love names. So good. The big boys, so this is all the non-state/territory domain names. So these are your your ato.gov, your health.gov and stuff like that. And this one is all one-way traffic really for Drupal. So pretty much you're either doing Drupal or you're doing something with React or Vue. So a lot of the unknowns here are like extremely bespoke applications that they might have a CMS under it, but it's quite tricky to work that one out. Yeah, and Drupal in the federal space is increasing, so 43 to 49, so pretty huge swing actually. And here's all the sites smashed together on one graph, and this is probably the shot you want on your camera. But yeah, Drupal leading the way at 32.4% of all sites in the Australian government when ranked by page rank. Squiz at 14, and unknown reducing. That's actually a lot smaller. Top 10 sites. So I think it's quite fun to have a look at these guys. And here you can see how I've normalized PageRank. So rather than having 5.79, I have 11,144 because that's what 5 to the power of 5.79 is. And yeah, anyway, you can have a look at those. But yeah, health coming in, actually, yeah, always pretty much number one. BOM always two. And then ABS, ATO, your usual subjects at the top. Yeah, so the very first observation really is that Drupal is now powering 32.4% of the digital experiences that you use in the Australian government. And it's increasing. So from last year, it's gone up 2.5%. So I think that's a fairly significant change, just considering the kind of to move the needle by that much. And Squiz actually decreasing, like overall, even though they have a fairly massive stake in ACT and places like that. Just because there are less important sites in the ACT, it doesn't have an overall impact. Drupal by version. So this is only where you don't get clever and redact the meta generator header. Please don't do that, by the way. And yeah, there's a lot of Drupal 10 out in the world. I didn't find a single Drupal 11 though. So if you know of one that's in the Australian government, let me know. Yeah, but it's cool to see. And D8 is a smaller slither, which is also good to see. D9, not too far. And 24% of you guys stripping your meta generator header. Tisk tisk. Security by obscurity, not security. Drupal 7 usage is dropping, so it's what you want to see. I guess it is still like considered like extended support from January or something, but it's now dropping a lot. And when I last did this talk, the top D7 site, the people who maintain it were in the audience. So I think it'd be hilarious if the State Library of Victoria is in the audience today. Come on. Yeah. All right. We know who to blame now. And just like generally, I think it's really awesome to know that these sites are actually popular. Like, and what I mean by that is there's an overall rank in that top 10 million. So this is where you kind of rank and stack compared to other sites on the internet. And health.gov is coming in at rank 2241. Like, it's basically a top 2000 site. And like Hacker News is like only slightly higher than it. Just, I mean, that could be a niche website, but I go to it all the time. I thought that doesn't make any sense. But, you know, and Bomb is top 3000. So like there's some like heavy hitter sites. We still don't have TLS coverage at 100%. I can try. A man can try, right? We've still got Bomb. They're holding out. Yeah. Then I've got some choice words. The rest of them are quite strange, but some of them are like archived. Like that flood commission in Queensland is from a 2011 flood, not the most recent one. Yeah, naming your commissions is hard, isn't it? Yeah. And yeah, but overall, the sites that are not supporting TLS is going down. So that is positive. Still 57 holding out, you know, sticking true. Yeah, I love Bomb. Yeah. My favorite part of Bomb is when you type Melbourne weather into Google and you click on the link and you see this cute Archimai page, and then it redirects you back to the homepage, which is not Melbourne weather. It's so good. Love it. So yeah, last year I had a slide on my deck saying, is Bomb secure yet.com? And like me being me, I just bought the domain and think, haha, add that to the pile. So yeah, I call this domain-driven development. That's when you buy a domain and you're like, oh, I could definitely think of something to stick on that later. So at the moment it's static, but yeah, at some point I'll probably have an actual daily crawler that can go off and request the homepage, experience sadness, and then change the text to be no or yes. Yeah, and there's some helpful FAQs for Bomb if they want to read them too. Like, hey, is having other domains with HTTPS considered enough? Guess what CMS though this is? Anyone built it in this room? Yeah. So yeah, this is beta.bomb. So this is like all good things in government, we have to start with a beta, and we must keep this domain for a long period of time. And we must not replace www. But anyway, so this is Drupal 10, I believe, and I hope one day it can replace www. A man can dream. I also had a crack at determining open source versus proprietary, and open source being I can go to the source code, I can download it, and I was like freely able to do so with the license that permitted me to do so. And proprietary, like, call us for pricing, you go over there. So open source is actually dominant. And for fun, I was like, hey, what's the oldest WordPress install? This is a 4.4.5. It is rendered static with httrack, thank God. This one, though, I don't think is. And I don't know what this site is anymore, but I probably have got a crypto miner on my computer now. And also I'm seeing like the rise of these, I'm not too sure what to call them, but like engagement platforms, like where there's consultations, there's ability to seek feedback from people. So it's now 0.7% of all sites now, these types of sites. We're still adding numbers to domains. We can't get enough of www1. www2 Grumper, like, that's their real site. Someone chose that. www1.health is it's like an archive, an old site. Yeah, good. Yep. It's good. That's the old police. Yeah. And for anyone out there that wants to do their own queries and visualizations and convince anyone else about things, I have got the full CSV download. There's literally a dump from the database. So you can come to your own conclusions with that. The slides are there as well if you want those. And I always follow these talks up with a blog post as well, with the images in SVG format, so that you can mix and mash. And yeah, this year, these are the improved sniffs that came in, largely just trying to reduce that unknown list. Like Akora CMS is new, came in this year. And that's my talk. Thank you for coming. Happy to take questions, also happy to chinwag afterwards if I get booted out. Why what?
Why? What motivated you to do this?
I'm curious, so yeah, like that's a good question. Like, why am I spending all this time doing this? So I think it's important to know, like everyone in this room spends a lot of their time doing Drupal and the impact it has. And it's, I just, my main reason for doing this is to show everyone like what you're doing has actual impact for actual people in Australia all the time. Yeah. What was that?
Why on Christmas Day?
I,
Was that just IT department?
yeah, I can't answer that, but it might just be I'm based in New Zealand, so it might be the future. Maybe it was the 24th when they did it. Like, I don't know. It's a strange thing to be doing on Christmas Day. So if the question is if it's decoupled, how do we then sniff Drupal? The easiest way is if you reference the images and it cites default files. It's less fun. Yeah, like we could have a chat afterwards, but like as long as there's something in the source code to help indicate it, like it could be like a Drupal-NID attribute, or could be, I don't know. Generator will definitely work. I definitely read the generator. Sorry, I can't hear. So the question is, why isn't MyGov there? And I don't know, right? Like, these are page ranks based on who's linking to you. I don't know who's linking to MyGov. Maybe. I don't try and I doubt the top 10 million sites, because that's just a rabbit hole. And then you end up crawling and then doing your own page rank, and next minute you'll be crazy. So I have to draw a line, and that's what I've drawn.
One more question and then wrap it up.
At the front.
Hey, Sean. I just know you used to do with SDP, you used to look at a header, because we're also headless as well.
Yeah.
We don't have that header anymore. Did you notice any drop off the big GovAU sites?
So the question was, am I sniffing SDP's use of Drupal? And the answer is yes. So I made sure of that. So, yeah. You're still referencing images on sites' default files. Yeah. And I classify that as good enough. Yeah. Come chat to me afterwards if you've got questions. And happy to chinwag about any other things as well. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. I can see. Yeah, thanks all. Thanks, Sean. I can see there are a lot of questions, more questions, but grab Sean outside the room and while we are preparing for the next session. So, thank you all for coming. Yeah, thanks.